Maou Nobbu. This unit is the reason I don't give a shit about what Game Press says about their tier lists. They literally bump units down because they're quick or they didn't have batteries. Well, for some cases, granted, that was a problem. But the way Game Press presented like their tier list, it just wasn't. They didn't set their terms for the tier list clear enough. Now I know there's some discrepancy with my tier list. It comes with bias. Units I use excessively, my opinion on them is sometimes tainted because I use them at higher copies than what I'm saying for the tier list. That's on me, and you guys can definitely call me out on that. I do understand that Maou Nobbu really did need these buffs. I'm not saying that she never needed them. She 100% needed these buffs. But ranking her as like the worst 5-star in the game because she couldn't do farming or her farming team wasn't that good. Yeah, no, this unit had they tried to hold this unit back. They knew what would happen if this unit became too good and was able to do farming. Her numbers would actually be stupid. And for the longest time, Maou Nobbu had like the highest consistent damage like across the board. This is without mods. This is hitting neutral damage. This is with a 50% CE. Dante's needs Black Rail. He needs Black Rail to be able to pass this up. Every single Arch Looper needs Oberon and Black Rail to be able to pass up this damage. Kukulkan, she passes it up by a lot. I think this is 20%. She has 20% better damage, but Nobu's mods are just, and super effective damage is just more to universal than what wait, no, I think Cuckoo has Earth attribute, so might not fully be universal, but what I'm trying to say this right, what Maou Nobbu does, they work together. If you're getting one, you probably are getting the other thing, and her damage will just skyrocket. This unit changes literally overnight because of what the buff that's about to come out. So let's get started. Base attack, Avenger number. So it's already off to a good spot. Now, is she the highest Avenger? No. This is honestly fairly low for an Avenger, but low for Avenger is 3,000 more than a ruler. Y'all remember Phoenix Man? The one with like 9,000 attack? Bunny Toria? Nobu kind of shits on that. Shits on it really, really hard. Like, they need to rail to like 100 plus to be able to pass this up at Maou Nobbu at 90. HP, low, but that's par for the course for Avengers. They're always low HP in compensation for their high base attack. Star weight, Star Gen, they're Avenger numbers, but I wouldn't be too concerned about. You have Nobukatsu for this, and you have Bitch for just the Buster card. MP charge 0.49%, and you have ridiculously good hit counts. Again, they were very conscious of how good this servant could actually be if they were able to have a consistent like farming strategy. In challenge quests, you kind of don't care as much. You can use cards to help refund, so you're not forced to use charge when you don't need it. You know, my throat is drying up really quickly right now. Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to get through this without coughing, but my throat really is drying up like really, really quickly. These counts, all fantastic. Nothing to complain about. Before you could do this, it's very similar to Shisho where it was like Arts Buster Buster, but her gain isn't that good to begin with. It's not that high, unlike Shisho's that has like 0.8 something, or Arjuna Alter that has like a 1.0 or almost 1.0, where he can do Arts Lead and his Buster Guards actually do refund a good amount of gain in addition to Vitch's gain. But with Mighty Chains, MPQA, and you just refund a whole lot of shit. Oh, and obviously I didn't talk about the best parts of Nobunaga, or this specific one. Each ascension is a different version of Nobunaga. We have the one we have from Guda Guda, the full of Owari form, Kiposhi, and then Maou Nobunaga, Mami Nobu. They have straight up said that this is a conceptual Nobunaga, not like Nobunaga at their strongest. So there's a very real chance we get like an actual 5-star Nobunaga that is like, this is the strongest version of her. But this is what we're gonna have for a while, and my god, is she a contender for strongest Nobunaga with Oberon in the mix. Let's get started on the skills. And this is why like her being able to do double Vitch comps is like what is making her. Because before she could even do double Vitch comps. She could, just not for farming. For like challenge quests. There is no difference to like a good part of her kit just for that though. So first skill is she increases her own attack every turn. What does this actually mean? The first turn you start off with 30, the next turn 50% attack, third turn 70%. You don't get additional attack buffs. It's one attack buff that has a scalar on it based on what turn you're on. From when it was activated. You can double stack this, and if you have this Lord, you can do it on turn 1 and 2. So by turn 3, you have 120% attack buff for a Buster unit. When Buster supports don't give attack buffs. They give Buster buffs, which multiply with the attack buff. Already, you might see where like Maou Nobbu is getting this much damage. Very much the same place as Kuku. Kuku stacks up attack and does it at a very high level, and then she double stacks it with Vitch. Maou Nobbu is doing something similar, but the buffs she gives are like, they all just flow together. She does, very important though, she grants the burning battlefield. This is important for all the Nobus. All the Nobus like burning battlefield. Strangely, except Nobukatsu, but it's mostly because burning battlefield is specific to Nobunaga, not Nobukatsu, even though he's like the younger brother. Actually, I don't think Archer Nobu has to do with burning. I don't think Archer Nobu has to do with burning. Yeah, I think it's just Zerk and Mao. But they might buffer to do something with burning. Very important that this is on a 5-turn, otherwise her damage would just, it would be 100%, not 120. There is no way to like fully double stack this to get 140% unless you're using Atlas, and if you're using Atlas, you are not doing actual farming. Second skill has already been buffed. Yes, this has already been buffed. Interval for 1 turn. Buff removal resistance for 1 turn. This is huge. They cannot take her buffs. And then also power mod against Sky attribute while on a burning battlefield. You need to pop this. Like, if it wasn't obvious, you need to pop this skill first. You gotta pop this skill first. Because this is a 50% power mod to Sky attribute. And 5 rulers are Sky attribute. And half of them are divine too. Divine. Estrella is obviously divine. I would be surprised if she had divinity, because, you know, she looks similar to Rangominiad or Goddess Rangominiad, but she doesn't have the divine trait for a good reason. Amor is a god, and so is Summer Scotty. Off the rip. Off the rip. Like, this is, you're getting full niche on these 4. Full niche for Nobunaga. You bring Nobu to fight these 4 specifically, they are getting obliterated. They are not living through it very quickly. And remember, power mods affect her face cards. So now all her face cards just hit really fucking hard against them. And if you bring in Vitch and you add in all her buster crits, yeah, you're not getting man attribute, but you're basically getting the same value out of it from her own kit. So when you're doing a double Vitch comp, it doesn't matter nearly as much what the enemy structure is. As long as they're not Earth, you're still getting a power mod on them. The same value of a power mod too. Unless there are humans mixed in too, which is weird. Third skill. This is the buff. This is the buff that makes her, like, into the meta. The battery is changed from 20 to 30, which is Oberon's, like, magic number. And then she gets the stack of Buster buff. She gets 60% Buster out of nowhere, and now she can be used in Oberon comms. There you go. That's all she needed. It's honestly debatable whether she actually needed the Buster part, but I think their option was either not give her this and give her like a Star Bomb, which could work, but would be seen as redundant because of how many Star Bombs are on Vitch and Oberon's kit in normal farming. Do stuff with MP gain, but then that would have nothing to do with farming and only for boss fights, which this buff was clearly targeting her becoming a farmer. Like, there is no way to hide it. Like, it's blatant that this was a farming buff. She really didn't need this, but it just helps her give her more damage. All she has is damage on all of her skills, and everything else is a utility part of it. This will stop her in certain challenge quests like Amakusa. This is the biggest Uno reversal to Amakusa. He cannot take Maou Nobu's buff if this is active. So any gimmicks where, like, you break the bar and he immediately MPs, which would be damning for, like, nearly any servant in the game, Maou Nobu's like, fuck you, I'm about to beat the shit out of you. I could go into some religious insults, but I think that I'll save that for actual Maou Nobu. Passive skills. She doesn't have that much for an Avenger. Like, they front-loaded her shit. Well, now it feels front-loaded. When she first came out, no. Like, her passives were not good to go with a kit like this. Like, I will admit, it's lackluster. This, I think, made it okay, and I don't think she should have been D tier. Like, I wouldn't have put her in B or A, but like D, like literally the worst 5-star. No. But yeah, no, this buff is what she needed. These passives, cool. This helps in challenge quests, doesn't help in farming. Crit damage, cool. Gauge return, normal Avenger stuff. I think like the passes being this bad is why they were like more willing to give her more damage, just because their base wasn't as good as it could be. If you want to use her in farming, you need mana loading. It lets you not use a K-scope and get 50% CEs that have MP damage, which Oberon can double. Again, you can just use K-scope, but you're missing out on damage. Straight up. Anti-alter ego. If you don't have... Well, a lot of people do have Oberon, but we are getting Hephaestion, who is going to be permanent, coming in January. Hephaestion is a permanent pretender. I would bring Hephaestion to fight a pretender more than any other unit because she has full class advantage and does not have an MP that is going to get me in the long fight. Oberon. So extra attack, especially with how her base stats aren't that good, but like her hit counts in general are good. So like whether the extra attack is like doing the bulk of like all the gen, it doesn't really matter. All the cards are just gonna do good in like a mighty chain, and just in a Buster Brave chain is gonna do a lot of damage. You don't care about this shit. You care about this for a Buster Brave chain. This is gonna show the damage. And now the NP. Now, before all the buffs, people were saying, oh, buff Maou Nobu's MP and make this like for all enemies. With all the buffs, I honestly think that dilutes Maou Nobu's purpose too much. And at this point, I think it's safe to keep her on anti-divinity, just because anti-divinity is just so wide-reaching. It is all of these servants. All of them. Oh, and look at that. All of the servants, all the rulers that she would have niche on, she has double niche on. Interesting. But yeah, especially the Berserkers. Let's see. Herc, Raikou, Arjuna, Brynhild, and Ibuki. Herc, Raikou, Arjuna, Bryn, Ibuki. Yeah, you bring him to fight. You bring Maou Nobu to fight them. She's clapping him. Where her niche overlap, they overlap. She gets super effective plus power mods, because she does super effective damage to all divine enemies. You bring her to fight Herc, she is ruining Herc's day. Full stop. You should never bring Herc to fight Maou Nobu, because she's one of the few servants that actually say like completely Uno reverse Herc's entire gameplay. GMPs, he's done. He cannot. Oh wait, no, actually, I take that back, because Guts does not count as a defensive buff, but she will remove his dodge. She will remove that dodge, and if you don't have the Bonsi, your Herc probably is about to get popped, like really quickly. It does do burn, so if you want to do Honey Lake, you can. But honestly, I think that's mixed. Like, power mods have diminishing returns. I would rather have just leaner start than, unless you need the Invul Pierce. If you need the Invul Pierce, then it's a different story, and then you're also doing a challenge quest, not farming, so it's different. Challenge quests are different than farming. You run different CEs. Her mats, not egregious, but she does require 4 like gold mats. Skills, I don't think they're too bad. Like for me personally, I just have these in excess. But for normal people, you're like, this is probably going to be your pain point. You don't need these as much as you should. Like, I feel like this is the 5-star mat that I always need the least amount, or I always have enough from just playing the game. This I never have enough of. And then appends get way worse, and you need like way more gold mats. And just rare mats in general. Just lost belt mats at this point. Bonsi, Buster up, MP damage up for the party with a 10% defense reduction. If you already have Maou Nobbu, if you have Bitch, if you have Oberon, she is probably the strongest neutral farmer we get in the game until Kuku. For Buster. You have Maou Nobbu, you don't need another Buster farmer. Unless you have Juna or Morgan, like actual Berserkers. But in a challenge quest, can't exactly use those two all the time because they have their own problems. Morgan, if you're not fighting man attribute, her damage is not that good. Like, call a spade. Morgan's damage, if she's not fighting man, is pitiful. And when she is fighting man, there's no one better because she mixes power mods and super effective for the same niche. That's what makes Morgan damage so explosive if you bring her to fight man attribute. And man attribute is I think the biggest one. The biggest niche. And as a Berserker, she just fights all of them. Well, Sky, not as big, but a lot of the stronger enemies are Sky attribute. I have been waiting to be able to farm with this servant for like 2 years. I am really happy that I'm actually gonna be able to. I pre-lored her skills because I knew in the next Guda I would be using the shit out of her and Okita Saber. Any node that is not 333, more likely than not, I'm using Maou Nobbu. Just how it is. If I can get away with using leveling the Mystic Code, I will, but I'm primarily at the point where now I just need to like farm and not get myself like I've been doing for the last 2 years. I'm not saying you have to summon for this servant. I'm just saying if you have this servant, you are going to be eating good for a good while. And yeah. Hope you guys have a great day. Hopefully Guda 6 starts tomorrow. And of course it starts once my vacation is over. And B, once I'm actually not sick anymore. Because it sucks being sick when you're on vacation. But at least I didn't have to take off days of work. That's my blessing. I didn't have to take off days of work. Alright, see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like or sub. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.